Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to Ernie's Tennis Channel. I've been on court a lot, so I haven't had a chance to make a video. But given that the 2020 season has concluded, I wanted to do an updated power rankings of young men's tennis players who I think are going to make a real impact not only next season, but be the new faces of the tour once the big three are no longer representing the sport. So last year, I was 100% on point when I talked about Rublev's potential, as I'll get into a little bit later. And I got to be honest, sometimes I'm wrong. And Chung, he was on my list. He has seemingly never recovered from injuries, which is unfortunate, but got to take him off the list because let's face it, if you don't play tennis matches, then you don't make the money and you also don't earn the recognition. So my updated list, let's see who's on it. Number 8, I have Alexander Zverev. Now, Zverev's always been talented. People were a lot higher on him a couple years ago than they have been recently, due a lot to his, mental toughness questions. However, he's a lot more aggressive as of, recently. And I think his camp is doing a good job of bringing out the best elements of his game. They're telling him to hit the backhand, more aggressively. Why not? That thing is beautiful. And I just see a little bit more of a killer instinct, and I see a little bit more intention. There's less matches where he's going out there and doesn't seem to know what he's doing out there, which happened a lot and way too much for a player of his caliber. So now that that's been solved, I think he'll have an opportunity to maybe will himself to more match wins. He's underrated as a 5-set match player. He's actually very good in those situations, and he's got the durability to go the distance. So he's built for the Grand Slam events. I think he kind of dips in confidence and focus in the smaller tournaments. But there was enough from him for me to put him on the list. I used to kind of think he was maybe like a Tomas Berdych, but I think this year proved that he's got more in the tank than Berdych ever did in terms of ability and high level moments. And so I'm curious to see what he does in 2021 and if he takes another step forward to maybe be back on track to where we thought he would be at this point in his career. Next on the list, at number 7, I have Shapo. Now, Shapo has obviously been a fan favorite since he was a teenager. And the thing I like about his game is that he seems to be understanding that it's not just about hitting the ball hard every point. He really took a concentrated look at himself and started constructing tennis points and being strategic in matches this year. And because of that, I really, really like, where he's headed. Last year, I specifically mentioned he didn't make my rankings list because of the dips in consistency. Now, those are still there. He's still an inconsistent player. But like at the U.S. Open, getting eliminated in the 4th round, he lost in a 5-set match, in the quarterfinals. That's a big deal. That's something that we never would have expected from him in terms of how he played. Just like smart tennis, not going for huge shots on everything. If this is the Shapovalov we're going to get moving forward, he's just 21. It feels like he's been around for a long time because he's been so hyped, but the version we saw in 2020, if that's like, the stepping stone to where he's going, then, he's going to be really dangerous. And he could even make a sneaky run to a slam final if it's a hard court. So look out for Shapovalov. I got him at number 7. Obviously a great hard court player. If he matures, there's no denying his upside. So there he is. Ahead of him, I have Casper Ruud. And I have to confess that I really maybe didn't pay as much attention to this guy as I should have. But his game is really interesting. He has a nice mix of ground strokes and volleys. I feel like he is one of those players, kind of like a Dominique Thiem, where you're going to get the intensity and you're going to get the high quality tennis no matter what day it is. So as a 21-year-old, he's the same age as Shapovalov. I think what works in his benefit is that he hasn't had the expectations or the hype. But I think he's got all the game he needs. He's really, really an impressive player. He's like the first Norwegian ever to win an ATP singles final, which is kind of crazy to me. You'd think at least someone did it. But Casper Ruud's a real player. I think he didn't make anything further than the 3rd round of a Grand Slam this year, but he's had some really tough draws considering his seeding that he's had to fight through, and he routinely beats players ranked ahead of him. Given how young he is, I really like his mental toughness. I like his all-court game. I feel like he has no real things that you can take advantage of where, you're just kind of focusing all of your energy as his opponent on taking advantage of that. He throws a lot of looks at you. He knows how to vary the game. He hits a lot of volleys if necessary. I think he needs to do that even more, be more like a serve and volley player, because I think it would suit his style well. So Casper Ruud slightly ahead of Shapovalov because of the consistency. I think Ruud's going to be just making the second week of tournaments rather more often because there's just less days where the level dips. Just ahead of him, I have the 22-year-old Frenchman Hugo Humbert. This guy is very, very intriguing. I'm super excited about this player because his style is just something you can't prepare for. He's lefty. He uses all these angles and these trick shots. I saw him play, I think it was Thiem earlier this year, and I was just blown away. I was like, who is this guy? How have I not seen more of him? And then I went back and I saw that he made the fourth round of Wimbledon last year, and it's like I almost forgot that happened, but he's coming along really nicely, and he's a dangerous player, and I know that no one wants to play this kid. So Hugo Humbert, the lefty, I really, really like him. I think that it's almost guaranteed that this guy makes a semifinal, final of a slam. He's just a very, very smart player. Super intelligent. He's just a crafty dude. I don't know how else to put it, but I really like his game, and I'm interested to see where it goes. You know, this year he beat Minaur to win an event. He beat Tsitsipas. He beat Medvedev. So this guy beats all the top dogs. He's already taking him down, and he's just starting to scratch the surface of what he's capable with. So with such a wide arsenal of weapons, we're really looking at a very, very special player coming up. Hugo Humbert, he might be the best French player that since I've been alive watching. Like, he's got all the flash of Monfils. He's got way more consistency than like Tsonga does. And I think he's got more staying power than Gasquet, because Gasquet really wasn't the creative, innovative player that Humbert is. So Humbert is kind of like an old school guy you'd meet at the park that maybe he's like 70 years old and you're 20 and you think you should easily steamroll him. But he's just the old crafty dude that knows how to hit slices and angles that is just hard to prepare for. So really like him. And you know that I like him because I spent 3 minutes talking about the guy that's not even like, you know, top 3 on my list. So Hugo Humbert's there. Next, I'm staying on the Rublev train at number 4. Now, you might be asking yourself, if you like Rublev so much, why isn't he higher? Well, it's simply because I feel like there's a couple guys that just have another level to their game that Rublev might not. But I know that Rublev's all about the forehand, but damn, that forehand is amazing, right? So if he's able to hit with that level of consistency on his aggressive shots, I've always said this, he's David Ferrer if David Ferrer had offense and like a weapon to plan around. And he's got the intensity, the mental toughness is there. You're looking at a guy that made the quarterfinals of the French, the 4th round of the Australian Open, the quarters at the US Open. I mean, this guy's knocking on the door in every tournament, basically. He's never losing to players that he should beat. He's always, you know, the superior player on the days he should be. And then when it's 50-50 between the other top players, like he took out Thiem. Sure, he lost to Nadal. He takes out Thiem. He's, you know, if you're going to put him 10 days in a row against the 10 best players in the world, he's going to win 6 or 7 of the matches no matter what. So he's arrived. He's here. He had an awesome 2020. I'm curious if this is just, you know, approaching his ceiling or if this is kind of the best version of Rublev that we're going to see. If it's not, then, I mean, this guy's going to be a slam dunk to win a Grand Slam, so we'll see. Next, I have Dominic Thiem at number 3. Holding steady at number 3 on the list. These 4 and 3 have not changed at all. Again, Thiem right now is the best player of anybody on the list, but he is older by a few years, and I really do think he's at the peak of his powers right now. There's really not much I can say about him that hasn't been said already. He's got awesome form and technique on both sides. He hits with just a tremendous amount of power and intensity. I still don't see the nuance or the artistic element of his game that some of the other players have that makes me a little bit more high on them, kind of like Hugo Humbert in terms of potential. And, you know, if they're going to be the best version of themselves, what are they? And I just don't see what area Thiem can improve on. I think he's kind of maxed out all of his abilities. And, you know, if that means that he wins 1 Grand Slam a year and he's always in the second week of tournaments at every major tournament, then I'm sure he'll take it. But as far as being like a Federer, a Djokovic, one of those guys that's going to go through a calendar year and win all the slams, he's not that player. You know, I'll revisit if he does it, but I'm pretty firm in that belief. And I think this is about as good of a team as we're ever going to see. Now, that's still really good again, but that's why he's number 3 on the list rather than being higher when he's clearly of, the younger players, not the big 3. Probably most consistently the one that people are seeing because he just wins a lot of matches. He's not going to have any dips in concentration. He's not going to lose to people he should beat. Number 2 on the list, I got Medvedev. So Medvedev was my number 1 last year, and he's number 2 this year. I was scared the second half of the year he was losing to some people he shouldn't have, and then he goes out and just pulls off this beautiful run at the year-end tournament, beating the top 3 players in the world and looking extremely like confident doing it. So when you watch Medvedev dismantle the best players on tour the way he's doing it, this is not a fluke. This is a guy that's here to stay. Again, he is kind of like the Floyd Mayweather of tennis, where there's not really anything that you're watching where you're like, why is this guy so effective? But what he does do well is he figures out what you're trying to do to him and he doesn't let you do it. The game is always on his terms. He's the player, I think, on this list more than anyone, where if he loses the first set, I don't think it matters at all. It has that factor where the longer the match goes on, the better he gets. If the match is going to be, 3-4 hours, I'm always going to take Medvedev because Medvedev just knows how to figure the game out. The backhand is amazing in a way that's kind of unique, where it's not the overpowering backhand, but he can just do so many things with it. And, I love his personality. I like that we have someone that's kind of like the evil genius of the tour. And Medvedev is just so good, and I'm so excited that I've been on this guy for years, and it's paying off because he's just my favorite player that's not Djokovic. And so just watching him progress has been awesome. Now, number 1 on my list, if I'm just being a completely objective person, is Jannik Sinner. Now, Sinner is someone I knew absolutely nothing about heading into the year. And then the first time I really saw an entire match from him was against Dominic Thiem in like these abbreviated special tournaments right when the COVID lockdowns happened. And wow, this kid is unbelievable. He's got unbelievable power on both the forehand and the backhand side. I feel like there's no clear weakness in his game. He's almost robotic in how perfect his technique is, to where I feel like if the average person were to watch a match, they'd be like, I don't really understand what he's doing that's so good. But he's just technically and fundamentally perfect. It's like if Andy Murray was a couple inches taller and had 35% more offensive abilities. That's what we're watching with Jannik Sinner. So to me, Medvedev, I said last year, I wasn't 100% confident that he would be the best player. And when I said he would be the next great player, I was thinking the 5 or 6 slam range. To me, Sinner has like double-digit slams written all over him. 19 years old, the demeanor, he's not fazed by anything. The power from both sides, the mobility, the shot making ability is unmatched. It's like if Berrettini was 10 times smarter, played better defense, everything. This guy has all the power, all the tools in the arsenal. He's only 19 years old. I watched Djokovic come up pretty much from the beginning. I don't think Djokovic was this good when he was 19. Federer, a little bit before my time. Nadal, definitely this good by 19. So Nadal's, definitively better than Sinner was. But I think after Nadal, I don't know if I've seen a better 19-year-old play tennis. So Sinner's number 1 on my list. More long-term projection than next year. But he's already like in the top 40 after starting the year, out of the top 100. So I think by the end of next year, we could see this guy in the top 15. He could make a semifinal at a slam. The one issue I have with Sinner is because he's younger and he's not accustomed to playing the best players every single match over sustained time. He's had to withdraw from tournaments with injuries, retirements, etc. That's something that will get better as he gains some weight, as he gains some experience, and understands how to navigate an 11-month season against the best competition. But once he figures it out, what can you say what's going to be the thing that he doesn't do? He literally has unbelievable power on the forehand. He probably hits his backhand harder than anyone on the tour. He's got all the defense. His serve's ridiculous. He's got maybe the best serve on the tour. Sinner's a home run. He's like literally 5 out of 5. Andrew Luck coming out of college. Trevor Lawrence this year. LeBron James. Like, he's that guy. He's that level. And so that's my rankings updated going into 2021. I appreciate if you watched all the way through. My channel is not geared towards people that are attracted to flashy graphics and 2-minute videos. I like longer, more academic conversations, and that's what my channel's about. I have a video camera, I have like a flashcard of some key talking points, and if you like my personality and you agree with my opinions, I'm so thrilled that you watched my video. So again, just a little recap. My list, it goes Zverev, Shapo, Casper Ruud, Humbert, Rublev, Thiem, Medvedev, and Sinner as the top 8 going into 2021, not the big 3. And to be honest, from what I've seen from the big 3, outside of a couple of tournaments from Djokovic and Nadal, this might be the year where you get 2 or 3 slams where a non-big 3 wins. That's right, I said it. And I don't even know when the last time that happened is when more than 2 slams were won by non-big 3. But that's going to happen next year. That's my bold prediction. The next gen is too good now. It's officially, they're too good, they're too smart, they're too talented. This is the group of players that's going to break through and, move the throne from the old guard to the new guard. So Ernie's Tennis Channel, please subscribe. I'll be putting some more on-court tutorials when I get a chance to put everything together. It's been super hectic with COVID. The business is up like 1,000,000%. So great news for us, bad news for the rest of the world, of course. But thanks for watching. Hope you like the rankings. And next year, we'll see if I was right. Take care.